What if something you've done thousands of times could quietly shape your brain, your hormones, and even your confidence, without you realizing it? Most men never ask this question out loud, but almost every man has wondered. What really happens if you ejaculate every single day? Is it improving your health, or could it be silently draining your energy? I'm Dr. Olivia Carter, a board-certified urologist with over 12 years of experience, helping men understand their bodies and regain control of their health. And today, I'm not here to repeat old myths or moral lessons. I'm here to bring clarity to one of the most misunderstood aspects of men's health. This conversation isn't about judgment, it's about truth, the kind of truth that can change how you see your own body. Most men carry silent questions about this topic. Some wonder if daily release will make them stronger, calmer, and more focused. Others fear it might weaken their drive, lower their testosterone, or cause fatigue. The confusion is real because the answers aren't simple. Science shows that daily ejaculation can be both beneficial and harmful, depending on how and why it happens. So before we dive into the science, I want you to pause and ask yourself a simple question. When you do it, is it by choice or by habit? Because that distinction is where the real story begins. In this video, I'll reveal what truly happens inside your body and your mind when this becomes a daily pattern. You'll see how it affects your mood, your sleep, your hormones, and even your long-term vitality. And you'll learn how to recognize the signs that tell you when it's helping, or when it's starting to take more than it gives. Stay with me until the end, because understanding this can completely shift the way you approach your own health and energy as a man. You'll walk away with knowledge that most never get, and with it, the power to choose what's right for you, not what the internet, myths, or guilt try to dictate. Because the truth isn't black and white. It's personal, it's biological, and it's far more fascinating than you might imagine. A few months ago, a patient named Mark came to my clinic. He's 47, healthy, and in great shape. Still, he sat across from me with a question he could barely say out loud. "Doctor," he said, "I've been ejaculating every day for years. Lately, I feel tired, distracted, and less focused. Could this be the reason?" Mark isn't unusual. I hear this question from men in their 20s, their 50s, and even their 70s. It's a question that hides behind humor, guilt, and late-night searches. Men are told either that it's perfectly harmless or that it's dangerous. But very few ever hear a balanced answer. The silence around it builds confusion, and confusion builds shame. That shame is what keeps most men from understanding their own bodies. When something is hidden, we lose control over it. That's why I started addressing these subjects openly. Because when men learn how their biology actually works, the fear disappears. Knowledge replaces embarrassment, and clarity brings confidence. This conversation isn't about judgment or restriction. It's about awareness. You deserve to know what happens inside you when this becomes a daily habit. Because when you understand it, you can decide whether it's serving your health or quietly pulling energy away from it. In a moment, I'll show you what's truly happening beneath the surface. The chain reaction that starts in your brain before it ever reaches your body. Once you see that, everything about this subject will make sense in a way it never has before. But here's where it gets interesting. When this cycle happens every single day, your brain begins to adapt. The reward system becomes less sensitive, requiring stronger stimulation to produce the same feeling. This process, called neuroadaptation, is part of how habits form. What once felt satisfying can start to feel routine, or worse, necessary just to feel normal. It's not a moral issue, it's chemistry. Meanwhile, your hormones are also adjusting. Testosterone levels can fluctuate after ejaculation. Some studies suggest that spacing out releases allows for small, temporary boosts, while others show that frequent ejaculation may help regulate prostate health and lower inflammation. The key isn't the frequency itself, it's the intention behind it and the signals your body sends in return. Then there's prolactin, a hormone released right after orgasm. Prolactin is responsible for that relaxed, sleepy feeling. It helps you rest, but in excess, it can suppress sexual desire and energy. When ejaculation happens daily, elevated prolactin may slightly dull motivation or drive over time. That's why some men report feeling more tired or less focused when it becomes automatic. So, what does all this mean in real life? It means your body is constantly trying to find equilibrium. Too little release, and tension builds. Too much, and energy dips. The balance point isn't the same for everyone. It depends on age, stress, sleep, and emotional health. The science is clear. Ejaculation isn't just a physical event. It's a neurological and hormonal dialogue between your brain and your body. And when you start listening to that dialogue, you begin to see patterns that explain why some days you feel powerful and others depleted. But what happens when that delicate balance shifts too far to one side? What if something that once gave relief starts to quietly drain your drive? That's where we need to draw the line between benefit and burnout. And that's exactly where we're headed next. There's a moment every man reaches when he starts to sense a shift. What once felt like control begins to feel like routine. The body gives subtle warnings long before they become problems. Fatigue that lingers after sleep, a drop in focus during the day, or a quiet loss of enthusiasm that's hard to explain. Those are the signs that the balance is tipping. Ejaculation itself isn't the issue. It's the pattern behind it. When it becomes an unconscious reflex instead of a conscious choice, the brain's reward system starts leading the body instead of the other way around. What used to be a moment of release becomes a coping mechanism for stress, boredom, or anxiety. The result is a gradual shift from freedom to dependence. This is what I call the personal balance line. It's the invisible threshold between benefit and burnout. To understand where you stand, you need to read 3 indicators. First, your mind's response. Do you feel calm and clear afterward, or foggy and unmotivated? Second, your body's response. Do you wake with steady energy, or do you feel a quiet drain building through the week? Third, your relationship impact. Does it strengthen connection and confidence, or replace genuine intimacy with quick relief? When those answers lean toward fatigue, restlessness, or disconnection, your body is telling you that it's time to reset. The goal isn't to stop. It's to regain balance, to restore awareness to something that has become automatic. When you shift from routine to intention, you take back control of the very system that regulates your mood, energy, and desire. That's the turning point where biology meets self-awareness. And once you recognize it, you'll never see this habit the same way again. Because now, the question isn't whether you should or shouldn't, it's whether you're doing it for release or for escape. Next, we'll explore what happens when that choice divides into 2 clear paths, one that builds strength and vitality, and another that quietly steals it away. Every man eventually stands at a crossroads. On one side lies the path of regulation, where choice, awareness, and control shape the habit. On the other side lies compulsion, where repetition replaces intention and the body follows the brain's craving instead of its natural rhythm. Both paths begin the same way, but they lead to very different destinations. The first path, the regulated path, is defined by balance. Here, ejaculation happens with awareness and purpose. The man on this path uses it as part of a larger pattern of health, connection, and emotional stability. His hormones stay in sync, his energy stays consistent, and his confidence grows because his actions match his goals. His body responds positively. Better sleep, steadier focus, and a quiet sense of control that extends into every part of his life. The second path, the compulsive path, is quiet but destructive. At first, it looks harmless. But over time, the repetition conditions the brain to expect instant reward. Dopamine spikes begin to lose their power, and what once felt fulfilling becomes necessary just to feel normal. Fatigue increases, motivation declines, and desire for real intimacy fades. It's not weakness, it's biology repeating a learned shortcut that no longer serves you. The difference between these paths isn't morality, it's awareness. Both men look the same from the outside, but one is guided by purpose, while the other is driven by impulse. One uses release as a form of restoration, the other as a form of escape. Ask yourself a question right now. When you do it, do you feel recharged, or do you feel emptied? The honest answer will tell you which road you're on. Understanding this distinction is powerful because awareness creates space for change. When you can see both paths clearly, you gain the ability to choose again, to retrain your brain, reset your habits, and reclaim your energy. And that's exactly what the next step is about, using awareness to rebuild strength through a simple but transformative reset. Awareness is the first step, but action is what transforms it into strength. The Empowerment Reset is a simple 3-phase process designed to realign your biology, restore energy, and rebuild control. It's not about restriction or abstinence. It's about recalibration, helping your body and mind rediscover the rhythm they were meant to have. Phase 1 is observation. For 7 days, pay attention to how your body responds. Track your energy when you wake up, your mood throughout the day, and your focus before bed. Notice how your body feels after release compared to when you take a break. You're not judging yourself. You're studying your own system, the same way a doctor studies a patient's response to treatment. Phase 3 is reconnection. This is where intention replaces impulse. Instead of using ejaculation as a reflex, use it as a form of mindfulness and connection, either with yourself or with a partner. Slow down. Focus on breathing, rhythm, and awareness. The goal is to make every experience conscious, grounded, and restorative. Next, we'll close this journey with a final reflection on what all of this truly means for your long-term health, energy, and sense of purpose as a man. Your body is not your enemy. It's a system built for resilience, designed to adapt, recover, and teach you when to push forward and when to slow down. What you've learned today isn't about control through restriction. It's about freedom through understanding. When you see how your body reacts, you stop living in confusion and start living with precision. Ejaculation is not just a physical act. It's a reflection of rhythm, balance, and awareness. When it becomes intentional, it fuels your health, strengthens your mind, and deepens your confidence. When it becomes automatic, it dulls that same energy and disconnects you from what gives you strength. The difference lies in your choice. Every man watching this has the ability to reset, to step back from routine, and to decide what serves him best. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Your hormones, your brain, and your emotions respond to leadership. And when you lead them consciously, your vitality follows. If you take one lesson from this conversation, let it be this. Understanding your body is not about guilt, it's about dignity. You are not defined by habit. You are defined by awareness, by the ability to learn and adapt. That is what true health looks like. Balance between instinct and intention. I'm Dr. Olivia Carter, and my goal is to help men reclaim that balance with clarity, confidence, and compassion. If this conversation gave you perspective, take a moment to share where you're watching from in the comments. Your experiences help others realize they're not alone. Subscribe for more insights each week as we continue to explore the truths that shape men's health and vitality. Because your body is worth understanding, your health is worth protecting, and your energy is worth fighting for. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.